What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and we are back for another TokuBrew podcast. This week in Toku. Holy shit! This week, though.
This week's one's rough. This week is rough. This week's a rough one. I can speak.
With me, as always, is my lovely fiance.
Hi.
And co-host.
I'm Stormy. Hello.
And there's a lot to discuss.
This is a lot. There's a lot.
For KingOhger and...
even more for Geats.
Like Geats, there is some discussion.
There's some discussion to be had.
And like I said, nowhere close to near news, but I don't even think there's any news that, matters. You know what? I'm realizing I'm going to... because when we're recording this, the next week's episode has already aired, but it has not been subbed yet.
We're starting to actually get there, to being caught up.
No, I'm talking about, right now as we're recording this. So I'm doing it because neither of us have seen anything. So I'm not going to check any news sites for a little bit.
Oh, okay. That's probably smart, actually.
So yeah, let's get right into KingOhger, which literally just picks up right where we left off, where the people are, going against Gaira, and Reculus is well, he will be found and, murdered. We're gonna kill him.
Don't worry, he's a traitor, and we'll make sure that he's brought down, or whatever.
And you immediately see, Kuagan, because, Kubatan? Whatever. Kabuto is just vibing there, and they were just, hanging out, and, Scorpion was like, I'm gonna come up and sting you. And then, Kugata's just like, fuck you, you can't do that. Why am I describing the scene? Because it's adorable.
You're adorable.
It was adorable. You should have seen it. They were like, nah. It's like, you should have played, the, over dramatic, the Bernie, all of a sudden, he's fighting a predator or something. And yeah, and then later on,
you're adorable. You're the cute one.
That's fine. Kabuto, I guess, wasn't affected by the venom at all, so...
oh, yeah, the evil version of him, or whatever.
Oh, not just even that one, but,
Reculus's one, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Reculus's one, they say, was the only one unaffected by the God Scorpion's venom. Which, by the way, again, we focus on that one guy again, because he says, I know Gaira's a piece of shit, so we need to...
I saw it with my own eyes.
And then we literally get a competition between Kamakiri and Tombo. They are... Yamagast was like, it's a technical glitch, we could fix this, and... I still don't know Yellow's name.
Wasn't it Hiromi or Hitomi? I can't remember.
Or something. While I look that up, you want to talk about this scene? How they have a competition going on?
It's like, oh, it's a technical glitch. We can fix it. It's like, no, it's affected by a toxin. We fix it. And toxins and poisons aren't the same thing. Adam.
I know. Venom is injected into the bloodstream.
And poison is something that you eat.
Yes.
Or you bite it. Venom is it bites you.
It bites you.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna bite you.
Anyway, so they have a little competition of whoever can get them back into shape wins.
Yeah, so that's just something they decided to do. And then we immediately cut to Deathnyark with the other Bugnyark just being like, well, we lost the thing, but it looks like Gaira can't control the Scorpion either. So... let's send a team in to go get the stuff for us.
And they bring out the best boy.
This had me laughing so hard when I saw this, because it's just like an ant in a sergeant's outfit.
Yeah, and it actually commands them with a whistle, and they march in time. The ants go marching one by one.
What? It's just so funny.
He calls them maggots at one point.
It's just he has a cap. I know it's supposed to be a cap, like a sergeant's cap, but it looks so much just like a cowboy hat.
He's adorable.
It's so funny, and he has all these medals. He is a well-reserved veteran of the Bugnyark army, apparently.
Apparently.
It is hilarious.
We have a quick scene after that of Reculus's like guards basically looking for Gyra, and they go to the orphanage and they're like, "Hey, you harboring a criminal?" And they're like, "That crazy guy? Heck no. Do we look stupid?" And they're like, "Yeah,
like,
you're right."
Who's this?
And he's just like hiding
jackass?
in a corner.
Yeah, he's under a pile of crap. And then
we get back to Yellow and Blue because that's kind of
by
like.
the way, it was Himino.
Himino, that's what it is. Well, I didn't say that. I was incorrect.
Okay. Well, Himino and Yamagas are hanging out, and all of a sudden, we were joking as we watched this scene. All of a sudden,
you were, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh, why do you want Scorpion or whatever?" And she literally is like, "Oh, 15 years ago, my parents were killed," and I made the joke of the Scorpion killed her parents. I was a little off, but apparently 15 years ago there was something they called the Fury of the Gods,
which I think is something we've heard before, right?
Yeah, and you literally just see their castle just getting swarmed by these bug locust looking ones, which we'll get a close up like later where you see they have crazy eyes.
Everything's on fire.
Yeah, and you see her parents trying to treat all these people,
saying they were good rulers and good doctors.
Yeah, and all of a sudden even her as like a little kid is like saving and healing people. And it's kind of funny because you're just like, oh, okay, and just everything's on fire, and then they pass this dude in a menacing black cloak, and none of them are like, huh, maybe we should check this guy out. No, they're just like, hey, don't worry, bro, we'll heal you as soon as we fix these other people. And then
and they send her as a child. They just put a kid in that wig. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
They're like, oh, go get blood bags.
And then all of a sudden, immediately, the guy in the black coat immediately runs up with a syringe filled with Windex and just gives it to her parents. What? It's like a blue liquid. It's Windex.
It's Fabuloso.
Oh god, the Fabuloso straight to the veins, like.
Yeah, and like they die
instantly.
They die real. They just like dissolve. Like, apparently, it was some sort of unknown toxin that resembled Scorpion's venom. So
yeah, and all we see.
We also see a close up of the locust, and he's adorable. His little swirly eyes.
We also see this wrist thing, and I don't know if that's important.
Yeah, we see a little bit of his sleeve. I wonder if it's gonna be someone like Clockwork or Cogsworth, not Clockwork. Cogsworth or Lumiere.
Well, I would say I don't think it's Reculus because he's too young.
Yeah, Reculus is too young for that.
Yeah.
I mean, he could technically, but it looks like an older person, so. Yeah, but anyway, no. So she
wants to analyze the Scorpion's venom.
In like a revenge sort of way, because she thinks of it as like, oh.
She makes sure that nobody else can get hurt by it ever again.
Yeah, but it's in a revenge way that Blue kind of criticizes her for, of like, because she kind of perceives it in a way of, oh, this thing did this to my parents, rather than, oh, someone used it as a machine to kill my parents. And that's kind of what Blue tries to get through to them.
It's like, hey, Blue they gave the order.
If they're just machines, they don't understand that kind of thing. What this really falls under the responsibility is whoever gave the command.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
Where it's like, he literally says, if what you're saying is true, it's like the fury of the gods is a man's fault.
A person's, yeah. And she kind of gets a little upset of just like, oh, you just don't understand how it feels to lose someone.
He's like, you're right. I've never met my parents. Fuck you.
That's not something I'll ever get the pleasure of feeling, or whatever he says.
Yeah, and then we immediately just see them go in to be like, I found the target, sir. And they're just like, he's like, all right, eat your jelly beans.
The eagle has landed.
Eat your jelly beans. And then they get all big and just hype the beetle. The beetle's just vibing there, just being like, I guess this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, they just pick him up.
And then Scorpion wastes no time. But you see Yama like get mad at Gyra for not showing up, and he's and Himino is immediately just like, he's a fugitive.
How dumb could he be?
Stupid if he showed up.
So of course he shows up.
Yeah, immediately after you see Scorpion
he like runs up to them and is just like, come on, we can talk it out.
And then you see both of them walk up to Gyra, and he just reels back and gets ready to punch him. But I love Gyra's face as he's going in because it's like, ah!
Yeah.
And then like he just dodges it. And he's like, what the fuck? And then they reinsure themselves that they
reassure themselves.
They just are like, hey, we're friends, right? And he's just like, what?
Yeah, because he gives like a whole speech essentially of it just being like, oh, I remember hearing a bunch of crap about me being in your crew.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, if we're gonna ride together, we gotta make sure we're all up to speed.
So yeah, and then Gyra interprets that as, so we're friends.
And it gives some of the greatest expressions ever. Because it's like they both look at Himino, and all of a sudden, like Gyra's just like,
don't
all
bring
friends.
me into this.
And, yeah, exactly.
We also get a cut back to the other people of just like, oh, we're sharing our medical data, and they're doing their thing. Like they essentially start working together. We see Sebastian throw up his arms. He's like, yay.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, we did it. If I can change, you can change.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they're fixing them up together now. And then we literally get her with Scorpion. We get Himino with Scorpion. And Sasorian is about to go for the kill. You see the whole extendo, like, stabber, all ready to go.
But she shows a bit of understanding of just, you were just trying to protect your friend, weren't you?
Yeah, she's like, oh, you were just trying to help out Kabuto. Which, by the way, Kabuto just walks up, just being like, hey,
what's up?
Hey, guys. I was just taking a minute just to take a nap. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. It's all cool. I'm just going to take another 5. And, like...
She does command them a little bit of just like, oh...
just let me inside, and then, like, the Scorpion's just like, alright, I'll let you inside, after it gets embarrassed after they realize Kabuto...
No, that's later.
Oh, I thought that happened right here.
Well, no, they go inside, and...
and then they start talking.
Yeah, then they're like, oh, I may not be able to understand what you're saying, but, like, I understand what you're feeling, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just kind of realizing, oh, this was a human that hurt them. And she also got hurt, but, like, she shouldn't be blaming... Sasorian, is that their name?
Yeah, Sasorian.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's really funny that it's just like she's really is just having this conversation with this like bug soul in a box.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because with Gyra you get told he has the ability to talk to them. And it does make me wonder then, is it like, oh, humanity's what hurt them? So the person who had the venom in the syringe, did they like just steal it from
that was what
them?
I kind of was thinking.
Like, and like so they're like, I just can't trust people anymore. And then she asks if it is a purely platonic friendship between her
platonic
between her and Kabuton.
Kabuton's just like,
oh, it's so cute.
He like tilts his head, and Sasorian just like, no, what are you talking about? Just like covering their face and stuff. It's really cute.
I don't know how they've like portrayed like personality between bugs that don't talk.
Yeah, it's really cute. They're like, oh, your secret's safe with me.
It's so cute.
And of course, like they end up joining the battle.
Which, by the way, they get this wicked claw, which this was awesome.
You had mentioned that this is actually proportioned different to the toy.
Yeah, the toys one is going to be way bigger than this one. Like, it's going to be, like, huge.
Coming soon. I imagine.
It's just one of those things. Yeah, I'm about to say, this got released with Grasshopper, apparently. Yeah, but it was a really cool fight because it's just, like, they used that claw to their advantage and just murdered everyone. And sadly, Ant-headed... Like,
he does
die in a blaze of glory.
He was really funny though.
He was a ton of fun.
So anyway, yeah, the two
so the two of them,
the cute bugs,
they walk out. Like they both leave.
They run off into the sunset
to do whatever they want.
And Gar's like, "Oh, I guess I'm under arrest now."
And like both Himino and Yamagast are like, oh no,
he's getting away.
If only we weren't tired
from the battle, we could
get
chase
the fuck
him.
out of here, dumbass.
Go, like, yeah.
And he immediately goes back home to the orphanage, and
they're like holding the orphans hostage.
They're holding the orphans hostage. Holy shit.
And Rita walks in just like, oh, Regulus has requested a trial by combat, so Next
Beatles.
week.
Next week. Battle.
Yep.
It's
Who's gonna flip who?
Yeah. Oh my god. Could you imagine? I hope we see Gyra flip Regulus.
Oh, that would be really funny.
Like, if not, at least they're giant robots. So yeah, that's KingOhger. I think it's a really good episode, honestly. It does set up, it's like, okay, so there are other events in this world that we haven't been talking about yet. Like, I can't remember if they brought up Fury of the Gods before.
Again, I feel like it got mentioned at some point, but
Like,
we didn't really pay attention to it, so it's probably just like
and or it's just like
a
was
thing
a
that they
passing
mentioned.
thing.
Yeah, it was mentioned in passing, I think, at some
Oh,
point.
wait, we almost forgot. Sosoran has now a new nickname. Scorpy.
Yeah, which is something they actually said in English too. We heard them say Scorpy. Like,
I was like, oh, Scorpy.
it's really cute.
It's cute. And I just think I wonder how far that's gonna play into everything. What story are they really gonna go trying to tell? And I do know that we have the Recula special coming out soon.
I've just heard it's dark.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've not watched it. Also, the Bugnark just having regular walkie-talkies.
Oh.
Like the standard edition walkie-talkies, just they put like random
Oh, did we talk
symbols on
about
it.
the fact that Gira did actually talk to
Tried to talk to Sosoran, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, they just don't trust people.
Yeah, I don't think they trust
That was one of the things
people.
that helped Yellow come to the conclusion, I remember imagining.
Yeah. Like, it's very interesting. Again, he's just trying to figure out the gods, and I'm very interested. And like, I really want to know, like, because this fixes a problem that I have with Ryusoulger, where since it's Gyra's ability to be able to talk to them and everything, I don't have a problem that, like, not all of them have been named yet, but then he hasn't been having to give attention to the other ones. It's like he doesn't need to talk to Palpion, he doesn't need to talk to Tombo or Kamakiri. So it's like, I hope we get their names because all the other ones are getting names.
Yeah, well,
But
like,
it also
over the
makes sense
series.
why we don't know them yet. But it also fixes one thing that I had with Ryusoulger, where it's like none of the main Kishi Ryu didn't like talk, but then they were like, oh, Tiramigo's learning to talk, but then all the other ones outside of like outside of I think the Raptors could talk, and I was like, well then why'd you half-ass it? Where it's like, I didn't mind Ryusoulger, I actually really did enjoy it.
I also feel like a version of like that for me is like something I don't like when like, and Kamen Rider can do this too, of just like, okay guys, we have a thing we need to do. You guys, it's been 2 episodes. We forgot to do the thing we needed to do. You know what I mean? Like,
KingOhger is very, very much like that.
yeah, but I feel like this show kind of does that, but in a way that I don't mind. Of just like, oh, we need to fight Regulus. Oh, but our bugs got stabbed, and we need to find the cure real quick.
And you need to hide because he's looking to execute you, not fight you.
Yeah, and you can't go out and fight yet because you don't have your backup, essentially. So it makes sense.
Yeah, this was definitely a cool-off episode, and I think we needed
and we learned. Yeah, we got
next episode they might be fighting to the death.
I honestly, like, one of the things I mentioned while watching this was, like, I really hope that, like, Red and Blue just kind of have, like, a special relationship just because they've known each other for so long. Like, oh, it's like, you are my best friend. Yeah, you're my best friend.
You're my best friend.
Like, he tries to be all like, well, I don't even really like you anyway. Like, he's such a tsundere,
Yeah,
essentially.
I
hope that happens at some point. Just like, you are my best friend.
I love the dynamics between the characters. It's like, and again, I feel like that's something I like to say for any show. And you probably heard us mention this in Dawn Brothers, where it's like, if you give me a cast that I can really enjoy, and again, I'm even enjoying the not talking bugs. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, just like that slight where they gave it the head tilt, where he's like, I don't know what's being said over there.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, it's just so cute, and it's like, seeing that you can tell from just like how the scorpion's moving that it's trying to portray that it's embarrassed is fantastic. And like, it's something I don't expect, but it's also just makes me be like, yeah. And especially since these are really the only gimmick going with both the toy line and the show is just these gods and everything. So it's like them having a focus and them having a personality also makes you look at the toys being like, oh yeah, they're like old little friends. They're hanging out. And again, it was a fun episode. I liked it. I think we needed a cool off episode after we had like 2 back-to-back boom boom episodes.
Yeah.
Like,
this one was nice.
but
this one
next
was fun.
episode seems like it's going to be firing right up because we do see KingOhger in it.
Yeah.
Like, Reculus is going to transform, so I guess we're going to find out next week. That's pretty fun.
Honestly, we probably should just get into Geats because we're probably going to be talking about it for a very long time.
Yeah. By the way, Geats.
This one, all of the shoes drop. Just like so much stuff gets revealed. I mean, there is still a little bit more, but like, oh my gosh, man.
The gardener sadly did not cut off his hand like I thought he did.
Yeah, it's just like a little poke.
Finger. Yeah, he cut his finger and gave the blood to his little son. He actually does call him his son. He's like, my beloved son. After he heals him up,
he like regrows like a big chunk of his torso.
Yeah, he's like, he gets fixed up from what happened to him last episode. And we then cut to Tycoon and his sister.
Hold on. There was a thing that you skipped over that we really wanted to talk about, was the fact of like, oh, like, I think it was like Nudge Sparrow actually, like, oh, why does he do that?
He's like, oh, why would he use himself for fertilizer?
And then Baroba, like, before this is just like, oh, he's pure. Like, he just wants the Jamato to be happy. And, you know, if you really think about it, like, we perceive his actions as like creepy essentially, but
or evil.
If you think about it, it's like, if you were, even if you hated it initially, if you were tasked with like, oh, you need to like grow these things to try and win this thing, and then they start developing emotions, and you're the ones that are essentially raising them like your children, and you know that you just know that they're just going out for the slaughter, and yeah, you are like fertilizing them with dead bodies, but you're not the one killing them. Like, they're just kind of brought to you, and they're like, use this for fertilizer, so you use it for fertilizer. And seeing yourself in what is being used for fertilizer would probably drive you crazy, because that's just like what you see them as. You don't see people as something anymore, and you see these Jamato as your children. You would probably act a lot like him if you were to be doing that for like, what, a millennia?
Yeah. Or however long he's been doing it.
Like, it was a little conversation that we had I thought was interesting.
It was very interesting, because it does make you question, because again, he's technically...
He may be nuts, but his intentions are pure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like he's like, oh, they need to rule the world because they're better than people. It's like, no, he's like, you guys have been fucking slaughtering them.
I just want them to be happy.
And then we go to Tycoon and his sister.
And she's sad because Neon TV isn't posting anymore.
Exactly. And then immediately an attack happens. Mm-hmm. Immediately you just start hearing the city rumble. They don't even get to eat their...
The Jamato have cute little angel costumes. They look adorable.
They're little angel costumes.
And they're playing a game called Heaven or Hell.
Yeah.
And apparently how it works essentially is like...
This biblically accurate...
hold on. There was also a part that we missed out on where like a portion of the city, the play area, like rose into the sky essentially.
Oh yeah, I'm realizing, yeah, we don't have a picture of that.
Man, maybe we can grab one later. There was one really good shot near the end. But and what happens, like, these big spots of color pop up on the ground. And I'm assuming this is probably like a playground game or something in Japan. It's called Heaven or Hell game. The goddess is overwatching it.
This biblically accurate goddess.
This terrifying, biblically accurate goddess, which actually horrified me for when I first saw it.
It has like the all-seeing eye of Sauron in the back.
Yeah.
3 orbs of doom, wings.
We have a picture of it on screen. It's like the legs that like turn into like that like vine wispiness, I guess, at the end. But
yeah.
But like if you're not on a colored spot, the Jamato can attack you. And the goddess calls out a color, and if you're on that color, you basically drop. No, you don't get sucked in, you get dropped like from under you.
Yeah, we have a picture of the holes.
And it's interesting because you can go like, it is like the ground is just kind of cut like a cookie cutter, and like you can go in and out of like the bulbs, which we actually do in and out of the holes, which you see people, you know, kind of doing, which is interesting.
And then we see everyone who falls turns into bubbles.
And learn.
We will get to that, but everyone is participating. These people, the writers and everything.
The innocent people, the common writers, and also the producer.
which obviously they're all there, and all of a sudden Lord Reginald's like, I don't know what to do, and then Cherami's like, you should just stay here.
He's like, yeah, but if I go out and fight, I could get it back.
Yeah, and then they yell at him that it's his fault, and he just makes more goofy expressions.
Like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And then we get a quick Buffa Geats fight.
Well, here's the thing: we learn what the goddess does.
That's after this. No,
and the people turn into bubbles right there.
Yeah, I said it says the people turn into bubbles, but they didn't say what they do until after the Buffa fight.
Guys, here's Adam, your cup's in the way. I couldn't see properly. I'm sorry. Sorry.
But yeah, no.
I just saw the bubbles.
I know. But that's just... So yeah, that's all we know for now. But then we have the Buffa Geats fight, which Buffa just literally just tries to throw him down the hole. He's like, just go in there!
Fall down.
And then he uses his gravity powers to be like, I'm not dying that easy, bitch.
No use.
No, yeah, he
it's no use.
He Uno reversed him.
And then Baroba just walks up, Tycoon's there.
And I think it's because they announce...
It's like, the next judgment will begin at 12 the next day. So, and the Jamato leaves, so the round is over, essentially.
So, and then Baroba drops the bombshell of an unfair world, many people are sacrificed, so only one person can be happy. And it's like... And you're just like, what? And then they pretty much just reveal to you that the goddess of creation, gathers that happiness of a victor. And...
no, victims.
Of all the people playing the Desire Grand Prix. People who die during the Desire Grand Prix.
In the play areas and everything.
It just gets absorbed.
All of their happiness gets collective in order to go into the person...
victor.
Yeah, the victor who makes the wish gets all of their happiness.
And pretty much gets their ideal world. And that's where she literally says that's the secret of the Desire Grand Prix. That's
stealing the happiness of the losers so that one victor can have it.
And it's fucking insane.
And everyone is just kind of... And, Baroba's kind of teasing and just being like, oh, I wonder who she is. And... Yeah,
and Buffa, I think, is the one...
He just walks away.
I think Buffa's the one who says stealing away the happiness of the losers.
And Tycoon actually goes and talks to... Kikura. And he asks about, hey, sometimes when the world is recreated, some people just don't show up. And Kikura immediately is like, oh, your parents. You're asking about your parents, aren't you?
He's like, oh, I was told that the Desire Grand Prix didn't, all the riders died. And he's like, oh, yeah, they were used to recreate the world then. He's like, the happiness is what helps recreate the world. So it's like, since nobody won, it couldn't revive people because it wouldn't recreate the world in the image, but it had to fix the world from how it was.
Yeah, it even said that there is a set amount of happiness in the world, and what the desire... the goddess of creation does... I almost said the desire goddess, but the goddess of creation does, turns it into desire God's happiness, which we don't fully know exactly what that means quite yet.
Yeah, we literally see them use a scale.
Yeah, they use a scale to basically represent it. He even uses the example how there's if there's a rich person, there's a poor person. There has to be an opposite and equal reaction, essentially.
Yeah. And that's pretty much where that conversation ends. You can really tell Tycoon's on edge. And
Geats goes and talks to Reginald, who's eating some sort of what looks like a delicious snack. I want some.
Yeah, and he's just like, we need to talk about with the desire, with what's going on.
Who am I? Why did this happen?
Yeah, he's like, hey,
he's asking the questions.
He's like, can past and future people have children?
Because I believe that was something that we heard, when we did learn who his mother was. Her name is Mitsune. She was a past game navigator, and she had a child with someone in the past. I believe was all that he knew. That was all the information he knew about her. And
I don't know if we necessarily knew that she said she had somebody.
I honestly do think that there was at some point where someone said that.
I would have to double check.
I would probably have to too, but I could have sworn I remember that because he's just he asked Reginald how. Because he's just what's going on with it? And he's like, oh yeah, you're technically not supposed to exist because people from the future are unable to have children with the past because they're built differently.
Yeah, he literally says our bodies are structured differently.
And then Geats is also like, well, how was she able to give birth to me?
And he's like, I don't know. Fuck you. And then he literally goes down to the thinking hole.
I believe this is like the next day, like at the next judgment, I believe.
Well, yeah.
Or so close to the next judgment.
So it's next to the next judgment. And Nudge Sparrow literally is just like, did you put together the puzzle pieces? Do you know now? And he's like, yeah, my mom is the goddess of creation. And
he explains how she became that too.
Yeah, she's just wanted it so bad that she
put her happiness above others.
Yeah, and apparently that caused her to have an abnormal power where she could steal
That's an abominable power.
Yeah. Whatever. She could steal people's happiness and then recreate the world with it. Like, that's literally what
her power is to be able to steal happiness so that you could recreate the ideal world. And a long time ago, she used that power to be able to give birth to Geats, and then she was sealed away.
Well, yeah, and then all of a sudden, he's just like, oh, you're the heaven-sent child of the goddess of creation. Which, again, it just makes you wonder, why was he created then?
Well, she wanted him.
I guess.
She wanted to have a child with someone in the past, and she wasn't able to do it.
So, that's very interesting, and we really didn't get any time to do that because immediately they're just like, well, it's time to do this now. We're doing a time to do the holes. It's now, we're gonna do it in a second. And then, like, you literally see Tycoon, it feels like
these people were, like, up all night. Like in just, like, places.
Yeah.
Surrounded by candles, like, just waiting for it. They're all scared.
Yeah, and Tycoon kind of, we don't know if he's mad at Ace or just mad at the revelation. It's just, like, it feels like such a mix of emotions. Because he just goes in just being, like, how selfish this all is. He's like, I would have just been happy to living with my family together. Like, that's all I would have wanted. But
they would have been happy doing that, and
he's like, the goddess of creation took every bit of that happiness.
Like, they couldn't even have that.
Like, and you just literally see him fucking break down, and as soon as the game starts again, he's just like, this is a load of bullshit. Like, this is fucking horseshit. I don't like anything. And it's just like, you can tell he's just like, he's an existentialism.
Because it's basically against everything that he stands for, essentially. And yeah, like, he does very much have, like, I don't know if he's actually necessarily mad at Ace. I could very much understand if that's what Ace thinks, because that's how it could come across.
He was silent. He didn't say anything.
I do feel like it also could just be like oh my gosh, this is outrageous, the circumstances are bad, rather than he's specifically mad at Ace. So we're gonna have to see maybe later if he was mad at Ace or if he wasn't.
Well,
both are understandable.
It might be a little bit until we see him a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. And then we immediately hear the fake goddess. They do say that it's an imitation goddess.
Yeah, it's not the real one.
So biblically accurate one is not the real one. And you just hear her announce, it's yellow, and then this girl just tries to avoid death.
She falls, but, like, the sister saves her, and then Tycoon comes over and helps her out.
And then they're just like, hey, you still gotta get in the hole. Your thing was called. You gotta go in.
And she goes on to a different color.
And she kills
Adam,
somebody.
you were forgetting steps. Like, she gets onto it, and it changes color, remember? It changes to yellow, and she knows what's gonna happen, so she rushes over, pushes someone off of another one, and then he falls in.
And kills him.
And then she's just like, I will survive. And Buffalo uses this as a perfect example to be like, this is how people are. If there's someone that is... If
they're gonna fall under the goddess's control.
If there is someone that is willing to put their happiness above others, just in general, if people like that exist, then the fighting is never going to stop. So you might as well fight and try to be the victor.
Yeah, it's just like, might as well be on top. If the fucking world is gonna be able to be broken like this,
then why not?
Might as well break it.
Right.
It's one of those things, because it's like, somebody's always gonna take it.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone like that, so the game's always going to be played, so why not play it yourself?
And you just see Buffalo holding and choking Tycoon out and just drops him.
Yeah, he just flings him.
And you just hear him say the last thing he says, he's like, I'm going to reclaim the world's happiness. And then he gets turned into bubbles. He's gone.
And even
Kikura's just like you can hear that he's bummed with this. He's like, I can't laugh at an ending like this. He's like, I can't do that. It's like, that's depressing.
I legitimately wonder if they're going to bring Tycoon back now, because I don't know if they can.
Well, it is a fake goddess, and it depends on how the world will be recreated. But then we immediately have Buffa telling Geats that he's like, I killed Tycoon.
I eradicated Tycoon.
And that's kind of where we end that. Like,
and we go one last time back to the gardener.
And he's just like...
He's like, they took Rook, he's dead because Tycoon slaughtered Rook. Yeah, we forgot to mention that.
Yeah, he just slaughtered Rook.
He just tossed him into a hole.
Kicked him into a hole of doom.
We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But, like, so the farmer's getting so sad, and he's like, you need more nutrients. He's like, you can eat me.
Take me. Take all you want.
And you just literally, I went from being kind of, when we first watched the episode, I was like, oh, it's kind of dumb that he didn't, it's like, I thought he was actually going to cut off his hand. This makes up for it because he gets eaten.
Just whole.
Just whole. You just see him in the mouth in like a shadow going like, ah! As Nut Sparrow's watching horrified.
He was horrified. And then he turns into the gardener, puts on his hat, which at first baffled me, but now that I've thought about it more, makes sense of like, oh, if the other ones are growing and they're eating essentially the ID cores, then it kind of makes sense that they turn into them. So if he's eating him, then he turns into him. That makes sense in my mind, I guess. But it's a little weird.
And
it ends on the last.
And then we get
the next rule.
The victim's happiness is used to create the ideal world.
And just, my God, man.
There's a lot to unpack.
It's so heavy. It's such a heavy episode.
Like, there is so much to unpack. First of all, Geats now knows who his mother is, so I want to know how that's going to go.
We called that
I know
forever ago, but like, God, the way that they went about it.
But I'm saying now Ace himself knows.
Mm-hmm.
He has confirmation. And it's very interesting on how they took out Tycoon. Like, he's going to be back. I can imagine Tycoon's going to be
He must be in some way.
And I'm very curious on what's going to happen, because they didn't even mention Neon or Nyago at all.
She like, wasn't even in this episode.
Yeah, she was not in here at all. So, like, is she out? Is she no longer a writer? Like, what's going on? Like, is it because she no longer has the will to live? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Like, why is she technically not considered anything for this?
Yeah, I don't think they considered her a writer at the moment.
Like, because it's like, yeah, they didn't even, nobody mentioned her. Like, not even...
Yeah, even usually when Surumi was like her typical, like, oh, we just need to believe in the abilities of our common writers. Like, she said, you need to believe in the abilities of Tycoon and Geats instead of... Yeah, didn't even mention Neon.
But, like, so it makes me wonder what the hell's going on there. But we're definitely going to get a new confrontation for Buffa and Geats, and those fights are always super good. For fuck's sake, like, the music video is just another awesome Geats Buffa fight.
There's some really eerie moments in this, too, by the way. Like, especially, like, when Buffa's talking about the goddess of creation, the bubbles are going by with the music choice that they had. Like, just some really good moments in this episode.
Yeah, and it's, like, especially how, like, they...
So many actors getting to flex their acting muscles, too.
Yeah, and, like, you also, like, the suit, how they were having him crush his hand with the other hand, with the zombie foot hand. It was very interesting and very well played. And overall, it's something... When we watched it for the first time, it's just like, holy shit. Like,
we needed to take breaks because our brains were blown.
Yeah.
Our minds were blown.
Well, it's like, yeah, because it's like, I wasn't expecting the part where they're like, oh yeah, it's about happiness. They're absorbing happiness and giving it to somebody.
I never thought about it that way.
Well, I never did either, but it's like, once it's there, you're like, oh shit. Like, what? It's like...
It makes sense, though, how they have it.
And it's like, it also confirms to you, it's like, because we wondering what Tycoon's parents were. Like, were they writers and just they didn't get told, or like what's going on? It's like, no, they were just
to think of how many people, not just died, but like the happiness was stolen from them and the people around them because they disappeared, so that like Geats could be famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of it, and like
thinking it like. just thinking about how many times Geats has won, it makes me wonder if
like
Ace is gonna have a reaction to this of just like, I made all those people just die for what? Like again, like everyone has like stated that it's like, oh, there are no like stupid wishes. Someone has cared about them.
But Ace knows that some of his wishes are kind of stupid.
Yeah, but even like, is it worth it in the eyes of the cost?
But overall,
by the way, sorry if I've been sounding weird. I'm still a little sick. So
overall, I liked both episodes. I think they were both a ton of fun. Like, I will say, KingOhger was a lot more of the lighter show and a lot more,
which was kind of nice, all things considered.
Yeah, it's like
Geats was so heavy.
Yeah, it's like, again, I was not expecting
even
Gardner
the screenshots
to be eaten.
Even the screenshots aren't as colorful than they usually are. If you think about it.
Yeah. Then but yeah, no, it just was it just shows you how fucked up this game is, and it's like, who made up this game? Was it Buffa again? Because I can see him making it.
Oh my god.
And it's just,
I want to see how they conclude this too.
Yeah, and it's like, as much as I'm like, oh, there's a lot to talk about, is there? It's like, we've kind of said it.
Kind of, yeah. Just like
just
explaining what happened. There's just so much happened that was like significant, I guess, that we were just like,
yeah, it's
dang.
Like, it's overall, we did talk about this for a long time because it's very much like questioning and everything, but it does make me wonder where it's like, so what is next week? We know we're also gonna see Ace fight Gazer for some reason. I'm wondering what's gonna really cause that conflict, where it's like, is Lord Reginald gonna be like, we're gonna need to fucking end this guy because we don't need him? Like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Are we gonna find out anything more about the other cult members? Like, were those just other staff members that we've already met and it just doesn't matter? I don't know.
There was one thing I'm realizing we kind of forgot to mention about the game. Like, we kind of made the stakes a lot lower than they actually are, because like the part of the city that like rose up, this game continues until there's only one person left.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that like because it made it sound like, oh, like if everyone just kind of cooperated, no one would fall. No, like there can only be one. There can only be one. And just imagining how many people are going to die because of it. And wasn't this like oh, they're not going to be doing the game in this time period after this, so it's like these people like.
Well, that's what the Desire Grand Prix is just gonna leave and wipe their hands clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's what we think. We're not sure yet. But overall, it was insane.
Just so, like, my god, man. So much.
Like, both two really good episodes. Again, I'm enjoying both shows for very different reasons. I love KingOhger for its creativity and fun and everything, and a likable cast.
It's such a good show. Like, and everyone is putting in 100% when it comes to KingOhger. I'm enjoying it so much. I can't wait to watch more. And Geats is like starting to wrap up, and it's just so heavy at the moment. But like,
well, it's not even wrapping up; it's ramping up.
Yeah, it's just like, it makes me wonder, how is a show like this going to?
How is this going to end? Yeah, like
I don't even really have any theories or ideas on what they could possibly do to make this end, except for like
Ace destroying the universe. I don't
Ace
know.
Maybe destroying the goddess of creation and then finally getting to die or something like that.
Like, who knows? But it's very good.
But if you think about it in the grand scope of things, of like, we know that we're gonna have like, oh, once we like get into like the next year, like, oh, like there's gonna be like a handoff, and like in anniversary shows, he'll probably show up. You know what I mean? Hey, so it's like, obviously they can't just kill the main writer, because
didn't stop him in Ryuki.
That's fair. Like, I think it's been a while since we've had a writer show quite like this, where it's like so drama heavy.
It's
like, we even jokingly say that it's kind of like our soap opera at the moment.
It's very dramatic, and I like it a lot.
It's like so focused on, both shows are just so focused on telling the story, rather than look at this toy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, none of them,
like, they're so focused on the characters in the story.
KingOhger is weirdly, I can say, it's like, hey, look at this toy, look at the scorpion, you want the scorpion. It's like,
it has a crush on the beetle, like.
but like it's not as, oh, look how cool it is. It's literally just it having fun. So it's like I'm more like, well, the reason I want it, I'm like, that's a fun character. I want that bug.
Mm-hmm.
And it can attach
but
to
like
my cool robot.
but do you see what I mean though? It's not like, oh, like here's the power up. Like you know how we almost have like
it's not Dawn Brothers though. It's not Dawn Brothers level.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about your toy schedule.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like that was insane. Dawn Brothers was just pure insanity all the time. So I'm still getting used to like normal humor.
We miss you, Dawn Brothers, but we don't miss you that bad because we are at least enjoying what we have.
Yeah.
I'm about to say
I'm glad we got what we did.
I want to see those characters more, but I don't feel bitter towards anything that's playing right now. You know what I mean? I'm not being like, oh, it's like with this we could have had more Dawn Brothers. It's like in reality we couldn't, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like both shows, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't even know which one really wins because on one hand I'm like,
I think
Geats is so heavy, but I'm like, when I think about it, KingOhger gave me so much fun. Like, it got me to laugh so hard at the ant dude. I loved the bugs and the relationship and everything and the personalities that we got off just the bugs, again, that don't talk. Like, I liked that a lot. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know which one I like more, because, again, I like them both. So
I'd maybe give it to Geats just because so much plot happened and it's just so good and I just love this plot. So
it's like I can say that too.
Like I had fun, but like
and
that
the fights were great in Geats.
This is some good stuff, man.
But yeah,
good shows, man.
Oh wow, this is the shortest one in a while.
And we did get the new Ultraman revealed.
Oh yeah, okay. We want to talk about Blazer real quick. I was getting ready to wrap up, but yeah, let's talk about
I just remembered.
Or Blazar.
Blazar.
And he is a new Ultraman, and we pretty much, that's all we kind of know. I
really like the design so far, especially the helmet.
I'll get a picture of him, but he's just like, he uses stones and everything, and they look like coins.
And yeah, it looks cool.
Kamen Rider fans will recognize his host as being Heart from Kamen Rider Drive.
I think oh, what was it that you said?
Like, also, we're also apparently going to be getting, like, a simul dub. Like, we're going to be getting an English dub alongside, like, the subtitle releases.
Which, by the way, like, we actually checked out the English dub of Ultraman Z.
It's amazing.
It's very good. Like, if you prefer dubs over subs, or you have a hard time keeping up with the reading, or for whatever reason that you have.
Or if you just want to put it on in the background.
If you want to put it on in the background, perfectly good. Really good voice acting. Would recommend. And also
Sean Schimmel was Zero.
Yeah, Sean Schimmel was Zero.
I don't know if I would have casted him as Zero.
But at the same, it was funny because
I was like, is that fucking Goku?
At one point we're just like, that Goku? is that Goku? But and yeah, it turned out it was. And yeah, just good stuff. They actually captured the weird speech patterns that has.
I think they did it really well.
And they like the act. I'm so used to like either bad voice acting or like really lazy or even really old voice acting. So I'm just like, I was so not ready for the fact that it sounded like the people were like actually trying.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be doing that with the new one every week apparently. So
I think it's gonna be like weeks apart, but kind of thing where it's like, like episode 1 will be released when it like
and then when
show
episode
airs,
comes out,
but then episode 2 comes out, then maybe episode 1 in the English.
We'll have to see, but either way, that's going to be coming out very regularly, so that's something to look forward to.
So yeah, expect Blazar to join. By the way, everyone's just like, oh, they kind of gave up on the TDG kind of thing. Gaia doesn't get a remake show. But did Gaia really go with Tiga or Dinah to begin with? He's literally in his own universe. Yeah, but I'm like, which I think is kind of funny, where it's like, Tiga and Dinah were like, we're in the same universe. We're the same continuity. We're both Guts team. And Gaia's like, and I'm here.
That's pretty much what this one says.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's how Blazar feels. Which,
but
by the way, he's
from all three tied together for some reason.
By the way, he's from M421. And I was like, oh my god, do you think it was originally M420? And then they looked at his name and they were like, oh no, people are gonna make weed jokes if we don't change it.
I mean, to be fair, that's probably like an American joke, so it probably just got back to them. Like, okay, make it 421.
I doubt that's
eventually when that comes out, look forward to that being added.
Joining Geats and KingOhger. So
I guess that's it for now.
Yeah, I think that's it. This is the shortest one in a while.
Yeah, kind of nice. Like, they were getting a little long.
I would say, not as much to talk about, but a lot. We did talk about them for a good chunk amount of time. But, you know, overall, fun times. And do you have a favorite moment this week?
I will never be able to relive the moment I first saw that Goddess of Creation.
You were just terrified.
It was horrifying. I was just like, am I watching Evangelion all of a sudden?
You were like, oh my god, the angels have showed up.
Like, my heart
dropped.
Shinji,
get in the robot!
My heart dropped into my ass. Like, I was just like, oh no. I got so scared, man. So, just lots of great moments, especially like when Buffa like flicked Tycoon into the hole. That was really good, really cinematic.
Yeah. Obviously, you know what I have to say, standout moment for me is when the ant guy first showed up, because I literally laughed for probably 2 minutes straight.
Yeah, you were so humorized by it. I really hope someone puts, like, the Full Metal Jacket monologue over some of him. Please. That would be hilarious. I'm not going to repeat anything here for your sake, so...
Could somebody please edit that for me?
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Please, thank you. Tell us your thoughts of these episodes down in the comments.
All right, thank you so much for listening.
Until next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.